Good afternoon. Good afternoon. That's pretty good on the second try. I'll say one more time. Good afternoon. That is so awesome. Welcome to our 2018 Grand Recognition Ceremony. Today is going to be a delight. We are so excited to see all of your faces and to recognize you for your academic achievement. And also let you know or tell you more about some of our alumni who have been in the same seats you have been today and what their journey is like since that time. But today is all about you, our students. You are now officially a part of the TIP family, also lovingly known as Tipsters. My name is Shawna Young. I am the Executive Director for Duke TIP. And I remember just a few years ago when I was in 7th grade, what it was like to get that letter from Duke University that said, "You're so smart, we want you to take a test." The SAT and ACT, or ACT. And I know for some of you, you thought, is this supposed to be a benefit? Did I do something right or wrong? But I have to tell you, you did something so right. And because of how well you did on that test, and also because of who you are, you're here today, recognized for your achievement. I thought about what to say, what to share. And the story I want to share is about being yourself, being different every single day. At this ceremony, I like to say that a lot, and if I go to a state ceremony, I went to Florida on Friday, and I'll be at one in North Carolina. I think it's so important to remember that each of you are purposely different. You are our outliers. We want you to be okay with that. And I say that because I remember what it was like. I remember what it was like to realize that maybe people questioned why I questioned things so much. Maybe it wasn't okay to be myself when I was in your shoes. And I tell you now, it's always okay to be yourself. And it's always okay to be unique. So this moment will not happen again. It was purposely created for each of you and your families who are so supportive and have driven maybe down the street or flown across the country to be here with you. Take it all in. Remember that you are special and that the people in this room are leaders today and tomorrow, and that includes you. So I want to start by giving you a tremendous round of applause for your accomplishment. In terms of being different, I'll share a quick story for the parents. I have a little girl who's now 12, and I remember that I was so excited about having a little girl because I wanted to do her hair all different ways. And then little did I know that for 5 years, maybe more of her life, all she wanted was 2 Afro puffs. And I asked her, I said, I'm really excited about new hairstyles. And she said, "Mommy, this is my style. This is me." And I said, do you, be you. And even though you can't tell the difference between her school pictures from 2nd grade to 5th grade, because they're all the same, she was being herself. So I share that story with you because I want you to remember that it is okay every day to be who you are. Okay, so I want you to know a little bit about us at Duke TIP. At Duke TIP, we envision a world where academically talented individuals flourish, transforming communities and the world. We have pursued this goal for 38 years, and since our founding, Duke TIP has touched the lives of over 2.9 million talented students like each of you. This includes 100,000 new students who were identified just this year, over 60,000 in 7th grade. Duke TIP is dedicated to complementing the efforts of schools and expanding the resources available to students, you, and your families. So I'd like to ask the question, why are you here today? And I say that because I remember going to tons of award ceremonies when I was also in middle school and high school, and thinking at some point that it was supposed to just be a given. Of course I got the award. Well, the reality is that it's not a given, and that this moment is your moment. So listen to the words of our alumni. Think about where you go from here. This is just one step in your milestones of the entire career of your life. And we are so excited to now be part of that with you. Also, many of you, all of you qualified for our state recognition ceremony. To give you a little bit more context on that, we held 31 state ceremonies across the country this year, and 17,000 students plus qualified for those ceremonies. We're so excited to provide that opportunity for our students. Today, our grand recognition ceremony is actually really unique. The top 5% of students were invited to this ceremony. You scored within the 95th percentile of high school students going to college, taking the SAT and ACT. Please give yourselves a round of applause for that. So you are not only phenomenal among 7th graders, but among high school students. Truly wonderful. Let's talk about who you are. Who's in the room? So we have about 700 students, slightly over 700 students with us here today, 2,500 family members in the auditorium. One student brought 9 guests. You're coming from 29 different states. There are 14 twins here invited, 1 set of triplets. And as you know, all of you are involved in so many different activities in school and out of school, including math counts, spelling bee winners, accomplished instrumentalists, science fair prize winners, brilliant vocalists, community service award honorees, essay contest winners, top-ranked dancers, champion athletes, exceptional speakers, Eagle Scouts, and Gold Girl Scouts. So we are so excited to honor each of you here today. So where are we? We're in Cameron Indoor Stadium. Many of you have probably seen this on TV. It is where Duke basketball plays for girls and boys. You know Coach K, and the girls' coach is known as Coach P. It is really the place where champions are made, and you are among that. You are among the champions. We would be remiss if we did not recognize our parents and families here today. You could not be here without your support network, and they encompass that. So let's stand and give them a round of applause, our awardees, to your parents. Thank you for knowing, parents, how important this is. So many times we give our students, we reward them for all the other things that they do, but sometimes we forget to just make sure we bask in the moment of their academic achievements. And that's what today is about. So thank you so much for supporting your students and allowing them to be part of the Duke TIP family. Today, I'm so excited to introduce our keynote speaker, Stacy Klein-Gardner. When I started in my role as executive director of Duke TIP in 2016, I remember that so many people said, "Have you met Stacy? You gotta meet Stacy." And she probably didn't know that I was slightly nervous because by the time I was able to meet Stacy, she was just an icon to me. And as soon as I had a chance to have a conversation with her, I realized why people said, "Have you met Stacy Klein?" Genuine person, supportive of TIP, and been a part of the TIP family since the very beginning. Stacy Klein-Gardner received her undergraduate degree in biomedical engineering and electrical engineering at Duke University, earned a master's degree at Drexel University, and a PhD in biomedical engineering at Vanderbilt University. She is passionate about STEM education and in diversifying STEM education for students, women, and underrepresented minorities. She also is a consultant now with the Museum of Science in Boston for Engineering is Elementary, and she serves as an adjunct professor of practice in biomedical engineering and radiological sciences at Vanderbilt University, where she partners with other universities in NSF-funded research to develop engineering design process portfolio scoring rubric. I could go on and gush about Stacy, but I'm sure you will find out in just a few minutes how amazing she is. She's a TIP alum, a TIP supporter, and just a wonderful person. Please welcome Stacy Klein-Gardner to the podium.
Good afternoon. My name is Stacy Klein-Gardner, and I'm delighted to join you today. It's such an honor to keynote this prestigious grand recognition ceremony. I had the chance to do it 20 years ago in the Duke Chapel, and today I'm excited to keynote again in what I would call Duke's second house of worship. My TIP journey began back in the fall of 1982, when my parents found out about this new program at Duke for gifted students. My academic needs at my new school in Mississippi were not being met, so we decided that I should try out this new program. I remember going to Ole Miss to take the SAT. Boy, did I feel short and very conspicuous that day taking that test. Thankfully, I scored well enough to be invited to recognition ceremonies and also to the summer residential program. It was at the recognition ceremony that I started to understand how many other people were actually like me and even smarter. I have to say that I'm still pretty stunned that my parents dropped me off here at Duke. They drove me from Mississippi many, many hours across I-40 and dropped me off at Duke's East Campus for 3 weeks in the summer of 1983. I was talking with my mom recently about doing that, and she confessed that they actually thought about getting a hotel room nearby for the full 3 weeks, but realized if I had found that out, that I probably would have killed them. So they restrained. They answered the home phone in Mississippi, so I know they went there. Little did we know, though, how transformative those 3 weeks would be for my entire life. I took Algebra 1 in 2 weeks and took half of geometry. It was exhilarating, it was nerdy, and I loved every minute of it. More importantly, I met the people who are still my best friends and know me better than anyone outside of my family. I then spent the next 49 weeks waiting and counting down carefully each year until I could return to Duke TIP in the summers of '84, '85, and '86. Each year, I challenged myself intellectually in a way nothing like I could do at home. I took my first college credit class when I was 15. I stretched myself and my interests by taking a thinking, knowing, and problem-solving class from Dr. Greg Kemble in the psychology department at Duke. I discovered what it was like not to be the smartest kid in my class and to have myself stretched by my peers in those classes. I continued to make many friends. I visited them whenever I could. My family had a tendency for taking long driving vacations across the U.S., and I would carry with me my Duke list, and wherever I could, I would stop and we would call someone, and I would get to have dinner with one of my TIP friends. Now we've got our own Facebook group. We have reunions whenever we can. Just the best. My academic story continues at Duke University here as an undergraduate. Because I was able to move ahead academically thanks to TIP, and perhaps more importantly, I had the confidence to do so, I came into college with a year of credit. Sometimes I wish I'd taken more time here at Duke to explore academic interests beyond engineering, and sometimes I wish I'd been on campus for our second national championship in 1992 instead of graduating a year early. But I was able to graduate in 3 years with a double major in biomedical and electrical engineering. I know for certain my parents liked the tuition discount. From there, I obtained my master's degree in biomedical engineering from Drexel and my PhD in biomedical engineering from Vanderbilt. I now work in the field of engineering education, doing my best to make engineering more accessible and inclusive to females and underrepresented minorities. Sometimes I miss coding. That was always one of my favorite parts of studying medical imaging. But I really enjoy the challenge of making more educational and intellectual opportunities available to everyone. I love being involved with Duke TIP still. I like paying it forward, literally and figuratively, through scholarships to the crisis program and to the summer residential programs that my husband Matt and son Drew provide. So what would I tell my 12-year or 13-year-old self sitting in the seat where you are today? Kind of like Ms. Young said, I would emphasize, don't worry about being different. I loved math and science with a clear passion that I still do. I didn't know I loved engineering yet. That was still to come. I loved college sports. Rabid Duke fan, you might have caught on to that part. It meant a lot. It often meant that I spent a lot of time with guys. There weren't as many girls interested in any of those kinds of things. But I had the self-assurance to know that breaking out of the mold is okay. It's even great. Find people who challenge you and make you think. Don't just spend time with the people who share your same beliefs and values. I think that's particularly important today. You have to expand your horizons, see the world, think. Get to know what other people think and why they think that, and think about how your value systems compare and where that could take you in the world with an understanding of that. Find ways to share your talents. Perhaps that's tutoring, perhaps it's finding some way to use your intellectual gifts to serve your community. I'm particularly fond about talking about how engineering allows you to solve problems, human needs and wants. Think about how everything you choose to do can be helpful to someone else. Remember this very special day and pay it forward. Encourage other gifted students to participate in Duke TIP. Even if it's just encouraging that taking the SAT or the ACT isn't so bad. Maybe someday you'll be the one providing a fee waiver for a student to take that test. Or maybe you will share the joy I have of getting a letter in the mail from a tipster from your hometown who's gotten to attend the summer residential program on a scholarship that you provided. Congratulations, and enjoy this momentous day in your academic journey. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Stacy. Now we come to an important part of our ceremony, one that illustrates